Linux Out Loud is firing up our mics, connecting those headphones as we prepare to get rowdy, especially Matt. I'm Nate. I'm joined by my fellow co-hosts, Matt and Wendy. We're three friends sitting around a virtual table, talking Linux, open source, tech, gaming, and everything in between. We keep the banter friendly, the conversation somewhat on topic, and somewhere on topic, maybe might be somewhere kind of tangentially topical. And we have fun doing it. This week, we're spotting about our technology musings over the last couple of weeks. So let's get into episode 101. So, Matt, you have been chatting with me on the telegrams and sending me pictures of things you've been buying. And you are blaming me for this purchase. Well, blaming Jill and me, I should say. I should put Jill in front there for this nostalgic machine that you got. So you got to talk about it. You showed me just a little bit of it. You teased me. What is this old thing that even though I've never heard of it, I absolutely take all the blame in the world for it.
So anybody who remembers when Valve announced they were bringing Steam to Linux, we had the initial Steam machine releases. Valve designated hardware, et cetera, et cetera. That was the whole goal. Awesome. Loved it. You had third-party manufacturers like CyberPower PC or with like Cyber systems that they make, and then you had Alienware making, or Dell, aka making stuff. Awesome. I didn't like the price of like $1,500 for them when they came out. Most of them were like, that was if you fully spec'd one out. Going back to a PS3 recently for some gaming stuff, and I remembered one thing. It was nice not being required to be the heck online. Just totally not a requirement. Optional, but not a requirement. So tie that all together, and nostalgia won out. I bought an Alienware Alpha R2. So this is the revision of the original Steam machine.
Not to throw you off track, and this is but can you show the top of that case again? Like, tilt it. Is that like was it like a 3 lines? I thought it was like a hexagonal pattern. It was very subtle. I liked it.
The Alienware Alpha R2 that I have here is a i7 6600T, 4-core, 8-thread, if I remember correctly. Fully maxed out, 16 gigs of RAM, DDR4, a GTX 960 with 4 gigs of VRAM, and it is a 256 gig NVMe, a 1 terabyte SSD, so SATA drive. All in a micro PC, essentially. So this was essentially what you would get with minis forums now. Is this what this is? Requirement for online is necessary for what I'm doing to an extent. So luckily, I have solved that problem by having almost all my games from GOG already downloaded.
Right. Yeah.
So I was pulling those from the external drives. This is where the cold storage stuff has been coming into play. So I pulled those onto the system. Cool. Awesome. I was like, I can add these into Heroic and then link them over into Steam. Just not worry about use Steam in offline mode. Cool. Awesome. Except for Steam's been weird. I don't know if it was something. I don't know if it's something on the machine or if it's something Valve changed. So I'm leaving that where it is. When you sign, normally when Steam doesn't detect a online connection, it will just, use offline or go online or go offline, whatever. Doesn't allow me to do that. So I can add all these games to Steam all I want. Can't get into Steam if I can't actually use it. So I've been looking at consoleized front ends, basically like Kodi for front ends and stuff that give you kind of that living room console experience. On Windows, it's fairly easy. There's like Play Night, there's Launchbox, there's a bunch of other kind of retro-y style stuff. Linux doesn't really PlayNet. You can kind of get it to work, but not really, because then it's when it's kind of a pain. The only one I've been able to find is one called Pegasus or Pegasus front end. Really cool looking. A lot of manual work if you're installing things from outside the default location of where you where it's looking for. So then it requires you to go in and basically either create or look for specific text files for it to point at. A lot of work I really don't want to do.
Right.
Now, some of that is metadata that you can probably, scrape around and transfer and all that. It's just a lot of manual work I don't want to do. And I've tried sim linking and hard linking and soft linking to where it needs to point to, because it's looking for the default GOG, and I'm on a secondary drive instead of the primary drive. Whatever. So right now, the solution has been using the controller version of Heroic as the current front end by adding all that stuff, because I installed through Heroic anyway. The whole point of this is going to be an offline console. That is it. That is its entire job. This is going to be the appliance. Once the drive is full, the drive is full. Nothing is getting upgraded. What I bought is what it's getting, because this is going to go with me. No, because it really can. Because this is a system that is going to be going and living up in where I'm originally from when I go home. Okay. So this is living up there. So literally the only
to be
fair, we were talking because we were both here early, so I already knew that. So you're the only one that's late to this party.
Nate's always late to the party.
No,
anyway.
I was on time to the party. You guys are just
you were on time to the party. But because
you guys started on the cocktails and the appetizers before I got here. I get it.
I know. I'm sorry we didn't wait for you.
You took all the stuffed olives and the stuffed cheese pepper things. I got it.
You betcha. I'm not leaving those blue cheese stuffed olives for anybody else.
All I had left was like some
we're really
Colby Jack cheese and Ritz crackers. Thanks a lot. But anyway, go ahead.
So this machine is living up at my parents when I go back up home. So literally the only thing I will be taking is the 2-in-1 Miniform machine, and that's it. That is the only thing I'm taking. No games, no nothing on it. Whatever's on here for entertainment is on here for entertainment. The reason for that is where I live up there, the internet connection is kind of like Wendy's old one. Terrible. So
yeah,
mostly miss.
So Terabad would be the best example.
Terabad.
So it's not a viable solution for me to have something that requires online.
Right. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Having the option, hence the optional part is awesome. Mm-hmm. Getting it set up, kind of a pain, but it's a DIY solution.
Right.
The distro of choice, no, Nate, it was not OpenSUSE before you tell me to use OpenSUSE. Windows got blasted off this thing. Actually, I chose something that, Wendy, you will find interesting, because I've never been a big fan of Fedora. Everybody knows I'm not a fan of
Whoa. Okay.
Wait, there's more. The reason I chose a Fedora-based distro, I didn't choose Fedora itself. I chose Nabara. So,
oh my gosh, really?
So Nabara has a home theater PC ISO spin that uses the NVIDIA drivers, because it's a NVIDIA machine. It uses the NVIDIA drivers, but gives you Steam Big Picture mode and the way it's booted up in that process. That was the reason originally I chose it, but because Steam is being Steam, again, could be me, could be whatever. But Nabara is the distro choice currently that I'm using.
I am so shocked right now. I don't even have words for it. For all of the crap that you have given DNF-based distros over the course of the time that we're doing this show, I congratulate you, sir, on admitting to the fact that you
distros.
Oh
yes, have NVIDIA installed.
I will. If it was the default Fedora experience with NVIDIA, it would not be installed. I will be the flat board.
And I do have to give Nobara props. Like, they really, I guess, Glorious Eggroll has done an amazing job in his setup of that distribution. And if it wasn't for the fact that Wayland went totally crapshoot on me, then I probably would still be on Nobara. And I'm very tempted to give it another try. Very tempted.
I think you should.
Another try. Especially
with the newer versions of Plasma right now.
Yeah.
My experience on Wayland.
They are running a new version of Plasma. I think it was 6.2, maybe it was 6.1, but I know they had a newer version of Plasma when Wayland went to heck in a handbasket on me.
No,
but it could have been some other
whatever.
tweaking that I had specifically done that created that issue. And I don't know. And like I said, I didn't have time to troubleshoot it because there were shows that needed to be edited. I just needed a working system. So, yeah.
No. So I will say, still not a fan of DNF.
Why? Because it's
But you
better?
can do it all in the GUI. I mean, they still use Discover, right? Even though Discover...
No. Well, Discover's there, but no, they use... so when you do updates in Nobara,
right,
you have Nobara Package Manager Updater or whatever it's called. I'm just not a fan of the... I guess the user experience is probably the best way to say that. It reminds me very much of Synaptic in its presentation, which...
But for you, that's not that big of a deal because once you have it installed, all your games on it, it's not updating. It just it's disconnected.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I don't care.
DNF in the terminal is probably one of the slickest interfaces. The way it organizes the data makes it very readable very rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
I do like DNF.
It's on par with Zypper as far as that. For me, like I could go either way. I'd be just as happy with one or the other. When you compare that to like apt, which apt, God bless it, it's been there for a long time. It does its job. It does its job well, but it's very messy.
But it has gotten better. In the latest release of Ubuntu, apt has gotten better in that. And I think I have to say, like, hands down, everything's better as far as readability than Pacman. But I've used it for so long at this point that I don't even think about it until I go to use another package manager, and I'm like,
and it's like
it's so easy to just type install.
Yep.
I mean, really?
Now, I will say the one thing that Pacman does have, other than it being, what it is, the little Pacman going across. That to me, honestly, despite the awful syntax that it has, and no, you're not going to convince me otherwise, Matt. It is the worst syntax of any package manager ever.
I'll be the first to tell you it's a bad syntax.
Yeah, I won't argue with that either.
They do have the Pacman going across, and honestly, that almost makes up for the nonsense that it is.
Well,
they could fix it if they wanted to.
I can deal with some of like the pain that is Pacman as far as the syntax for the availability of the AUR, because I know there's been times we were trying to get Minecraft installed really, really fast on kids' systems this spring, so the one younger robotics team could do their screenshots in Minecraft, and I was having a heck of a time because the package that was available was the Snap. Minecraft needed to see an older version of Java. It couldn't see any of the installed versions of Java, which then you have to do some foo in order to give it permissions to see the other stuff that's there. And at times, like, I'm not saying that universal packages are bad. I'm just saying that sometimes they are way too much work when you're in a hurry and you just need an app that works. That's just from personal experiences, because I've been in that situations where the Snap has made it harder to get us up and running and just getting stuff done. Now, I haven't necessarily had that with a Flatpak. I think that's maybe one of the advantages of Flatpaks. But either way, you're still looking at like sometimes managing permissions so you can get the app to do the thing that you want. Yes, I'm going to have to build the package from the AUR. But gosh dang it, even if the Orca Slicer sometimes takes upwards of like 20 minutes to build, 30 minutes to build, that's okay. The dang thing works.
There's also AppImage, by the way.
Okay, yes, and I do have some things on AppImage. The downside was like the Orca Slicer AppImage wasn't running on Fedora. It wasn't running on Manjaro because it was having a conflicting issue with WebKit. So that was, I think, some of the reason why Nobara crapped the bed for me, because I was trying to get Orca Slicer to work. The current version that I have running on Manjaro is working just fine. It was built from the AUR. And then when I was using the AppImage on Zorin, because that is based on Ubuntu, then I had no problems with that one either. But trying to get Orca Slicer to run on the Fedora-based distro or anything else that I couldn't, just pull and build the package, that was a pain. As I talked about in the last show, 100, I heard through the grapevine that they are looking at building a Flatpak. I don't know if that's true. I haven't seen it. I haven't went to look for it, but there is word that is an option as well. So app images can be great, and they can also be a pain in the butt. I use Etcher as an app image. I also use Lightburn, so it controls our laser printer, or not cutter, our laser engraver and cutter. That's also an app image at this point in time. So I do use some. They just can also be a pain.
It's just like any other package format. It has its pros and cons. Just like
it's got its pros and cons.
Even the native ones for most distros have issues. In some
right. I've had less issues with native packages though than I have with some of these universal package formats.
But in fairness, I'm still not a DNF guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's where we were, right? You running Nobara. We kind of got off on a bit of a tangent.
Shock. A tangent. Never.
Never, ever. So I did want to make some comments. One, is it an i5 6600T, not an i7? Because I looked up, I tried to look up the CPU, and I couldn't find an i7 6600T.
It's an i7. It's a 6th gen. It's a 35 watt. It might be a 67. Sorry, 6700.
Okay.
Well,
6700T.
Okay, so even better. So I was comparing it to the Atari VCS. It is substantially more performant than the Atari VCS, which is a newer.
Which I also have back there.
I know.
Somewhere.
Don't you have
So, I mean.
Oh, wait, you shipped one.
Technically,
right.
Well, technically, I have 3 if you're going that route, because I gave one to my dad for Christmas. So, so if you want to go that route, technically, I have 3. But
how many you purchase is 3? How many you currently have to use is 1?
Is 1? Yes.
So anyway, I just want to say, like, performance-wise, it's more than. Well, actually, it's about double the performance then of the Atari VCS as far as the CPU synthetic benchmarks, right. And I'm not sure on the GPU side of it, but anyway, so that was interesting. So you might call it what you vintage or try to blame me for being old school, but I think that this is a totally reasonable purchase, and I applaud it. I mean, it'd be cool with OpenSUSE. Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, whatever.
Well, I mean, at least I chose the distro that is developed by one of the main guys that does a lot of the gaming on Linux stuff.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
probably good call.
Spec-wise, the GPU isn't amazing. It does come from 2015, 2 gigs of RAM,
actually,
GDDR5.
Perk, 4 gigs on this one.
Oh, nice. Okay. That is nice. So, I guess the question is, what kind of games are you going to be playing on it? Especially if you're playing some of like the older games, then a GPU like this is no big deal.
It's mostly older stuff. I keep it around, expectations wise, I keep it around the same thing as kind of like what I would expect with like a Steam Deck or like that.
A console or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm keeping it very realistic. I do have to pay a little more attention to kind of some of the game specifications for minimum recommended requirements and that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it's been a curated selection of games that get thrown on this is probably the best way. So like there's some open world games, there's some fighting games, there's some Western RPGs, there's some Japanese RPGs.
Okay.
Like that, it's very kind of all over the place as far as like genres and stuff that I've been putting on it. Just kind of to have a variety, but I also have to keep the specifications of the machine in mind. That is like, yeah, is that gonna like? I'm not gonna sit there and try to throw like Baldur's Gate 3 on it, which is a 150 something gig install. It's a big game. Well, it's like an 80-hour. It's like an 80-hour playthrough for one game on that, but.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so it's super long. But it also not exactly like meant for that. Like, yeah, you can play it on the Steam Deck, but it's not like an ideal experience.
Gotcha.
So, but that's been kind of the thing, is curated experience of like, I view it as I'm shopping for the games that I can actually play. And that's kind of how I've been selecting as what goes on it. So, but overall, it's been an interesting experience. There's still some work that needs to be done on the other end. I got about a month, so I'm hoping I can at least get something for a better consoleized experience.
Right.
That's my biggest hurdle right now. So, as far as like just UI stuff,
would you consider putting together like I'm not saying necessarily a script to do it all for you, but like a kind of recipe for this is how I was able to accomplish this, like a list. These are the things I installed, to share with the broader Linux Out Loud / Linux Saloon / Tux Digital / me.
The DIY console. So mine currently is very hack-eyed. It's not a clean experience. Let's put it that way. It's not very, I don't like how this is working, so install this, uninstall that, install this, uninstall that. And like, it's very haphazardly thrown together and short researched. So it's like, oh, this random GitHub might have some things. It's very much exploring a lot of the Linux gaming end of stuff that, but more appliance kind of Linux gaming, which is, I don't think as feature rich as say something like the home theater PC end of the Linux stuff. I mean, like you have like RetroArch and a few other things, but that's really emulation. Like this isn't emulation. This is like PC gaming, but I need a consoleized interface that doesn't require me to hack around to make it work. And that's kind of where I'm at. So heroic it is at the moment.
Well, nonetheless, I think it's still a good solution. I think I've not used it like in a with a controller, like for going through the games, whatever. But
so my issue with heroic specifically is when it comes to text field input, you don't have the on-screen keyboard prompt like you would like on a Steam Deck or like a big picture mode. Like that's where a lot of the hang up is, honestly. And some of the elements don't always translate to where you're trying to, because it moves it in blocks like tabbing across the interface. So sometimes it doesn't quite mesh with where you're moving the controller. That's the biggest thing. But anyway, while I'm coming up with do-it-yourself solutions, because I just do that kind of thing.
Yeah, that kind of guy.
I still blame Nate and Jill for the nostalgia purchase, though. Wendy, you're also looking at software, I'm assuming? I'm seeing GitHubs.
Yes. Well, this was actually brought to my attention in the Discord from a member of the Linux Out Loud community, Sean. So he shared a version of Klipper called Danger Klipper. And I have to read this intro to you, or not intro, but like kind of rundown of what it is, because it absolutely cracks me up. So, quote, "This is a community-maintained fork of Klipper firmware. Our goal is to support features and behavior that could be risky if used incorrectly. If I want my printer to light itself on fire, I should be able to make my printer light itself on fire." That is exactly how they describe this project on their GitHub page, which I find fantastic. And then later down, so they give a lot of different things that you can do. If you're feeling adventurous, take a peek at extra features in the Bleeding Edge v2 branch, and tells you how to like switch over and all of that stuff. So the whole purpose of this project is, say there's things that you want to do with a Klipper 3D printer, but it won't allow you to, as ways of preventing your 3D printer from exploding. Well, have no fear. Dangerous Klipper is there for you, and you can make some of those additional changes. So how this is going to be used, I got to get it pulled back up. But how Sean is wanting to use this is in order to do some additional PID settings for his motors. And I found it really, really interesting that he's talking about potentially being able to have some PID fan control and really being able to fine tune that print head temperature, which I do think could be very, very interesting if you could really help make sure that you're staying at that steady temperature. I know one of the downsides of your printer is you can have some variation in there, and your filament, the longer it stays in that hot end, so you're going through slow movements, breaks down a little bit more and the like, so can have some anomalies in your print finish and whatnot. So this is potentially one way to reduce that. So I have not tried this. I don't right now plan on using Danger Klipper, but since it was brought to us in the community, I was super interested in it and saying, hey, anybody else out there, if you haven't heard of this project, because I haven't, then maybe take a look at it. Maybe it has some features for you. I already break my printer enough. I don't need an additional firmware step to make it work at this point. I think if I had two printers, which I don't currently, if I had two printers, then I might be a little bit more comfortable playing with something like that, because I could run some things, test it, and like then I still have a printer that's running. So it looks like it can do some really awesome things that they have set in there. Definitely check this out. Reading through their GitHub is without a doubt a laugh. So if you need a laugh, just go read through it. Totally worth it for that part.
I only read through just a little bit of it, but it kind of reminds me of, okay, so our last episode when I complained about how computers aren't fun anymore. I feel like some of the fun that exists is kind of migrated maybe over to projects like this.
Yeah.
Where you put a little tongue-in-cheek in there, and will this be a professional, everybody use it product? No, and that makes it perfect.
No. It's definitely one of those projects that is made for people who want to tinker and are like, I know I'm in dangerous territory, but that's okay.
Wendy, I do like the fact that you said, I don't have a second printer yet.
Yeah, the keyword is yet, because I actually have plans to buy one. I decided, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get the Sovel SV04, and then it was out of stock, both on the website and on Amazon for US purchase. So I don't have one. I actually started looking on eBay for some used and refurbished ones. I have big plans for my Ender 5 Plus. I want to do some serious upgrades. But I've done printing for the robot like the last week and know that I do not want to be without a printer. I want to be able to say, okay, because the K1 is down right now in the build room. It also makes me not want a K1 at all. They pushed another update to the K1. K1 Max, I think, is what the team has at the build room. And once again, that upgrade has caused problems. So it's not properly feeding the filament through the print head again. It's done something weird. Filament's not properly going through it. It needs to be taken apart, cleaned out, and then started again. So I like knowing that, yeah, there might be issues going on with the team's printer. The kid who asked me to print some stuff, they lost power for a while, which caused some problems. So the parts are printed for the robot. They can put it together tomorrow. It's all good because I've got a working printer.
Yeah, I understand that. Like, just not wanting to mess too much with something that you require, like that you rely on, that you need. You like to play with things, but once you get to a point of play when now it's like, well, okay, we had a lot of fun playing. Now you have to do some work here, and so that's a good thing, and also it can be a bad thing too, because then it takes away some of that play. But you gotta have reliability. Like, I like to play with lots of things, but I've also discovered that sometimes it's not a good idea.
Sometimes it's not a good idea. Yeah, and if it was in the summer, actually, I can't even say in the summer because I was printing stuff this summer for robotics camp. So at this point, it is become a necessity. Like, we rely on it to get stuff done for the things that the kids are actively doing. Yeah, we do print some awesome stuff, some fun stuff, like the stuff for the car, which is really cool because that's inspired a listener to get a 3D printer to make stuff for their vehicle. And the wife has said, hey, once your printer shows up, here's a list of things that I want printed too. So his will get to work as well as soon as it shows up. You're welcome for that, by the way. But yeah, I think it's a really cool project. I love that they're having fun with it in their description. It's out there if you want to use it, but beware. It's even in the name. Danger. Klipper.
Danger close. Klipper.
I talked to you a little bit earlier this week, Nate, and you have some awesome news on stuff that's going on with VMware and moving away from it. How's transition going in your work life?
Well, back up a little bit. I'm back in January or December last year. Broadcom bought VMware, and then after that happened, it's been fun. And by fun, I mean not anything like getting anything, even like their free like their desktop console application, so you can look at VMware machines, whatever, like, you can log into them, whatever, like have them on your console into them. Just getting that to install it, you have to do like a seance. You have to like do a rain dance and do all this like weird, stupid things just
pat
to
your
get
stomach
free software
and rub your head at the same time kind of situation.
All kinds of just absolute nonsense just for their free software. It used to be just click, download, done. Anyway, that's just one part of it. They raised their prices like horribly, and so it's I would go so far as to say that I think Broadcom hates smaller organizations and doesn't want to deal with them. I think that's probably what they're doing, and that would make, maybe they're positioning themselves for only large, ginormous businesses, data centers, stuff like that. Okay, got it.
Here's the thing, though. Like, I wouldn't consider your organization like small, though.
No, but we're not big enough.
Okay. Gotcha.
That's what it boils down to. They don't want to support us. They have zero desire to support us. So, at least that's my assessment based on their behavior. They might
on the
say
feelings
something
that
else.
You've had, yeah.
Yeah, they might say something else, or like maybe say some sort of well-crafted corporate statement about how all of our customers are important. Except, well, if you read the subtext, not you, because you're not big enough. You don't pay us enough money.
Right.
Anyway,
yeah.
That aside, they raised the prices quite a bit, and also, like, I kept having issues with like vCenter and keeping things like the VMware hosts, like talking, and then I'd have one issue or another with certificates, and everything was just a pain to deal with. Anyway, so fast forward a little bit longer, and there's we have to take on some new tracking software for what we're doing, and so our current hosts, we just don't have we don't have the computational and storage that we could do it. I think storage actually we're okay, but like we're out of limits everywhere else. And so, okay, fine. I made a proposal that we should just upgrade the cluster anyway because we're having problems with it, which actually one of them did die, and we had to bring it back to life here, like just before the new, before our new HP ProLiant came in. And anyway, so we got it going. We're fine. And anyway, so I buried the lead. I apologize, but we're going away from VMware to SUSE Harvester. I know you're probably like, SUSE? Do you know anything about SUSE? Well, of course. So I'm I don't make it quiet that I've been a big fan of the OpenSUSE project, all of it. I use their distributions of Tumbleweed largely and Leap for other things. And there's others that other things I played with. OBS is really awesome. So all these things under the OpenSUSE banner, and I'm a member of the project community. And so I reached out to somebody I know that works at SUSE that's part of the OpenSUSE community, and so they got me in touch with somebody at SUSE to do some talks. And so we ended up going with SUSE Harvester. It was quite a bit cheaper. Our software vendor that we use, like not a vendor, but like a like reseller, like who we kind of go through for like our Microsoft licenses, all this other stuff that we use. Mm-hmm. He had never heard of it before. He had only kind of heard of it, but he didn't really hear about it. So he actually took the time to get smart about it himself, and he was really excited about the product. And anyway, so we got 3 computational nodes, the 3 ProLiant, HP ProLiant DL830s. Each of them have 256 gigabyte of RAM and 21 terabytes of storage after rated out. And so as a cluster of 3, this SUSE Harvester cluster, I have a total of 288 cores, 755 gigabytes of RAM, and 63 terabytes of storage, which is insane, and which is awesome. Anyway, so bit by bit, I've been migrating things over, because we're 24-hour operation business. A lot of these things just can't shut down, or I have to find windows, and when things are a little bit quieter, then I can move something over. And then sometimes I'll move it over, it doesn't migrate properly, and then I have to, undo what I did, bring it back up on VMware. So there's been a little bit of that, but I did successfully yesterday move our main domain controller, in which then I also broke the VPN for everybody. So there was that, and so some people were a little bit upset this morning. But anyway, that was fine. It's fine now. It's fine. So, but it's operating on the Harvester cluster. No, that's that was my bad. That wasn't the fault of SUSE. That was just essentially something had to be like reassociated to the it's a communication that goes between the firewall, the domain controller, and so just something just kind of got a little bit sideways on it. Anyway, that's good now. Everything's going well. I'm about halfway done with the migrations. We're getting ready, I think, this Friday. So I don't know when this is going out, but the first or the second Friday, so the 8th, we're going to be doing a go no go on the main tracking software we use for a product. And if this all goes well, everything is being tested out now. So far, it's so good. Then next week we're going to go live with it, and then that's pretty much allows me the flexibility to shut the old VMware, finish the migrations and shut the old VMware servers down. So I'm really excited. Our cybersecurity company that we work with, the kind of the head guy there, he was like, "Man, I really like this Harvester. It's way nicer to use than VMware." And so he says he had never used it before, but he says it was so easy to use. He said it's not cluttered with all kinds of stupid menus. He said it just works really well, and he was really happy about it. And but I have a consultant at SUSE that I work with weekly, so kind of working on different ways of deploying things and kind of how to utilize the different functions and features of Harvester, and it's pretty cool. So he's a Leap guy. I'm over Tumbleweed guy as far as our distributions of choice. But anyway, so we're working on building cloud images, so deploying things very quickly, and how to set up the cloud init stuff, which is super cool. I mean, if you're going to deploy some on VMs of like a little Linux workers, it is really cool how you can do this. So you deploy these these VMs or containers, whatever, and you can actually put in your SSH pre-shared key, your RSA ID, and so then automatically in the setup process, you just basically you deploy it, and then you immediately have access to it. And so there's no installation process because you're building everything off of a cloud-based using a YAML file, everything that you want installed on it in a script, and it takes all the pain. I know. Well, actually, I should say, Matt, I don't know if Wi-Fi is easy for that because you don't have Wi-Fi; it's all wired, and that's your big complaint about OpenSUSE installers. But anyway, old complaint. So it's anyway. It's been a lot of fun working with, and so I'm learning about Kubernetes, and also what's interesting too is I became aware now that Harvester handles VMs like a pod. So it doesn't matter. So the way it balances loads and everything else, it's the same thing. Whether it's a container or a VM, it's still just a pod to Harvester. And so underneath that is the Rancher which handles the pods, and then Longhorn, which is the storage, how it manages the storage across the different workers. So anyway, that said, it's very cool. I think in retrospect, like looking at it now, I think I probably should have set it up with more RAM. But the neat thing is, if I want to add RAM to it, I can migrate everything over from one of the nodes to the rest of them, bring it down, make any modifications, bring it back up, and then have it balance the loads and everything, and I'm good to go. So what's very cool also is I don't ever have to ask for permission when I have to do like system maintenance. I can just do it, and I don't have to coordinate anything with production. I don't have to do any kind of coordination whatsoever. So this is really cool. I'm excited. My almost unhealthy obsession with the OpenSUSE project has led into a rather large contract for SUSE. So you're welcome, SUSE.
It's not an almost. This just proves that it is an unhealthy obsession.
I mean, I'm
because now, Nate, you don't use it just in your personal life. You now use it professionally. So you're using it essentially 24/7.
Yes, it is.
That to me would therefore make it an unhealthy obsession.
How much is it saving the company? Yeah, how much is it saving the company going from VMware to, even though you've got a contract with OpenSUSE,
we're so in actual hard numbers, based on all the little numbers here,
right.
it's about a $200,000 savings.
Ooh, yeah, that's a nice one. And the company was happy when you were building out the conference rooms and the money you saved them there, right? So as long as everything goes smoothly in the changeover, this is going to be like a double thumbs up, right?
It's so far so good, yeah. But so this is, I think I've talked about the other thing when I built for a new production line. I built a server. I think I talked about this before, but they gave me no budget to set up a server, which actually is running OpenSUSE with Cockpit as the hypervisor, so it's still KVM. But I saved the company. Well, they gave me basically, they didn't take into account the fact I needed to build something down, or I needed to build something there. It wasn't in the budget for this plant expansion, and so they said I had to figure it out. I'm like, whoa, that's my favorite right there. Figure something out. I like it. So I got excited. So I pulled something old off the shelf, and anyway, so instead of spending around $15,000-$20,000 for some server equipment, I pulled some stuff off the shelf, refurbished it for $1,200, and put it in place. And so then someone's like, well, how long do you think that'll last? I'm like, well, we are not pushing it at all. So 5-7 years, I don't know, until the thing blows up, plant burns down, I don't know. See all the above. And like, okay. And in fact, that's actually been going really well too.
Nice.
And what's also cool too is because it's running KVM, and I don't know if I can do this with Harvester, but the one that's running Cockpit, I can use my Vert Manager here, sitting at home when I'm in my home office here with my 6 screens, but it's 7 panels, sometimes 8 or 9. But I can have Vert Manager remotely log into it, and I can actually, just like when you use Vert Manager for doing virtual machines locally, you can go to remote host and access it. So if I have to do anything on those machines, like on the VMs, I can just open up Vert Manager, connect into it, do any of the things I have to do.
Nice.
Actually, it's super convenient. Really like it. And the cool thing was, I didn't have to do any silly nonsense to try and get the software for it, because it's all open source software. It's all based on open source stuff. Yes, we have a support contract and everything else, but it makes my life so much easier. Like I cannot stress to you how much using open source software in industry has just been absolutely beautiful to like transition towards.
Awesome.
I know VMware is like somewhat open source, but I don't even know what that is. But anyway, it's going great. I'm having lots of fun. Like work is just an absolute blast for me right now, especially since I said I want to use SUSE, and they're like, okay, sounds good to me. Don't know what that means.
Nice.
Go forth. And then
This comes out on Saturday. So this comes out the day after you do all that testing. So I guess we'll find out about that in 102. Good luck.
Hopefully by 102, we've decommissioned the old VMware hosts, and we are 25.
Fully SUSE.
Fully SUSE Harvester on there, and then that would mean that of all the VMware systems, or so all the server clusters, would be like 25%. No, actually, that's not true at all. So actually, be 40%. Yeah, because 4 out of 10. I'm sorry, 4 out of 5. No, I can't count. There are 5 different separate hypervisor clusters, whatever. And so that means 2 of them will be running on some sort of a SUSE or OpenSUSE, and the rest will be on and the other 3 will be on VMware.
Okay.
Yeah. And those are my favorites to deal with because they are not a pain in the... They're not a pain
rear
to deal with.
Yeah.
Yes. So speaking of pain in the rear, what is it that you're going to try and get me to buy now, Matt? With your game of the week. Or the bye week.
I would never try to get you to buy a game, Nate.
I'm just going to say I hate you.
Because he already looked to see what game it is.
And is it already purchased?
No, but it probably will. It will be. So the game I'm recommending is one called Mega Man Dive Offline. So this is a 2.5D reimagining of in a gotcha game kind of way. It was originally meant for mobile games, but it was made available on Steam without the gotcha mechanics. So you buy it outright. So all the in-game stuff and all the replayability that always made Mega Man always fun to try to figure out how fast you can beat the game and all the other, just all the fun little secret stuff is totally there. You have skins, you can buy different characters, you can play some from Mega Man X, you can play. It's just a fun 2D side scroller shooter that I think right now it's $10 right now.
Yeah, it's on sale for $9.89, which goes through November 12th. So when this show drops, it's still on sale.
So it is a fun game without all the kind of scummy monetization that usually goes into like gotcha style games that you'll usually find. So it eliminates a lot of those paywalls and pay barriers and all the other stuff. And it gives some of the more interesting mechanics of like a gotcha game because it does have like the daily challenges and that kind of stuff. So there's little things that it's like, oh, cool. The game's telling me I have like this challenge, but it's an offline, so I can play it offline. This is definitely one of those games that if you have any handheld, doesn't matter like what console it is, I would recommend getting this one because they're quick, they're fun, and if you have a Steam Deck, you can just put it to sleep and go and
because it is verified. It says Steam Deck compatible. Verified.
Yep. So hey Nate,
guess what Nate's doing right now? Installing it.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
So also the nice thing is the install is only like 1.5 gigs. It's not a super huge game,
heck yeah. Heck yeah.
So
that's not bad at all.
I think the normal price is $20 if I remember correctly.
No, 30.
30. At 30, it might be a bit much. I'm not going to lie. It depends on how much you like Mega Man, honestly. But at the $10, anytime it's on sale, it's always super cheap. So I would highly recommend getting it when it's on sale. I've had fun going back and playing some of like these old Mega Man X like intro level games, like the Destroyed Cityscape. Nate, you'll know what I'm talking about with this. The Destroyed Cityscape, like that's the training level. Just going back and replaying that has been super fun because it's a different way of doing it. So it's like what you think you know of it, and it's like, oh, they added some things here. That's different.
I am so upset with you right now.
So here's the
Steam Deck
question.
verified,
Nate,
by the way.
Yes.
Yep. So Nate, did you hit the purchase button or are you clicking the install button?
I'm buying it. Should I?
Well, no, you should. totally not instigating.
I mean,
No, you should hit the install button.
Oh, he's already
the
bought
bundle
it.
here. What is this bundle? Actually, I'm about to hit accept. I'm at the EULA right now. What is this bundle info?
There's probably honestly, I have no idea. I haven't even looked at the bundle
It looked
stuff,
like
so.
there was because I did pull that up too. It looked like there was an offline game and something else going on in there.
But the offline one's the one you want.
So as a side topic, I was just cruising Fanatical at the beginning of the show, and they have their Prestige collection right now. So one of the games that you had shared with us earlier, Pray for the Gods, that one is on there in that collection, so you can pick it up for $7.50 with another game if that's a game that you were wanting to play but didn't want to buy it at the time. Just throwing that out there. Another game that's been on the show is...
That is also a fun game if you are a fan of Shadow of Colossus and those PS2 style games.
That one is also Steam Deck verified.
It is.
Just putting that out there too.
Also, just going to say it runs more. It runs more out of 40 than a 60, but
it says it's similar to my River City Ransom Underground game that I hope you couldn't see the number of hours on that one though.
How many of that was you or the kids?
Doesn't matter.
In other words, it was Nate, not the kids.
It was all Nate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's not exclusively me. I played the game with them. Thank you very little.
Well, I'm not going to give you credit for... Never mind. Anyway, I would never get you to buy a game that I knew you would intentionally buy, Nate.
See, this is the kind of stuff why, like, I enjoy doing the show, but like I loathe it at the same time because you're going to convince me to buy something I don't need.
What hardware have I convinced, besides the Steam Deck, which you needed anyway? What have I convinced you to buy hardware-wise?
You got him to buy
Atari
the Atari
VCS behind me, which is no regrets there, not even a letter.
You told him about the one company that's got the cheaper add-ons for the Steam Deck, so I'm sure that like that
JSOX.
Yeah, that one too.
Which is where I have this screen up here.
Okay. Yeah. Huh.
You also the D brand. You introduced me to D brand.
Yep. Oh,
so I got the D brand
kill switch case.
Yep, which is what I have here.
Who doesn't love D brand?
Nate, I totally didn't get you to buy the headphones you're wearing currently.
Oh yeah, the headphones.
Yes, you
that's right.
did. Yep, there was that too. I forgot all about that. Yeah.
Pine buds.
The pine.
Yep,
yeah,
this
the pine buds.
Also.
Okay, so maybe I might have convinced him to buy some.
And I think the pine buds earbuds were bought during the show as well.
They were.
Yeah.
So there's been so anybody that knows, there's only been, I think there's actually only been 2 things of actual physical hardware bought during recording though.
Right.
One was the Steam Deck when I got my notification for it, and I was like, "Pause, please."
Because no, you didn't even pause the show. You're just like, do. Guess what I just did?
Yeah. And well, Nate, I totally didn't tell you about the pine buds at all.
Well, there was a time that Nate and I both bought, what was it? It was like the old Disney collection.
Oh yeah,
live on the show.
Yeah, that's right. The old. That was like almost $4. Like those go on.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, and they were definitely nostalgia games for all of us. I think
because that was I think it was DuckTales, Lion King, Aladdin, and something else.
I can't remember what all was in it, but
Tailspin,
like that.
Tailspin.
Yeah. Tailspin. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I would never instigate people buying things ever.
Never.
So I'm just looking here. So Wendy got me to buy Candle.
Yes, I did.
Disney.
I will own that.
Disney. Yeah, Disney Afternoon Collection is all you, Matt.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think Inner World was also Wendy.
Yes, that one was me too.
Matt, were you the reason I bought Kindergarten?
But what?
What is that game?
Apparently not. Oh, it's. If I did a game of the week, that would be it. But I think that it's not.
Kindergarten. Okay, I'm looking up.
Yeah. It's.
There's been so many games that
might Might have been somebody else that
I don't see
that
it.
was.
When I typed that in, I get after school. I must have the wrong thing. It could be my spelling. My spelling is not great either.
Like Garten, Garten.
Okay, I found it. It was
Now, I
definitely
did.
my spelling.
I know that Matt has convinced me to buy some of the Lego Star Wars Lego games. I have
Oh no!
one,
Oh
two,
no! No!
three,
No!
four,
So the
five,
last
six,
stack,
seven,
I am
8.
taking no I'm taking no responsibility on those. Those are all you.
I don't care.
I did tell you about
No.
some I did tell you about some free ones a few episodes ago. Yeah.
Right. Although I will say, if I were to do like a game recommendation, I've really been enjoying Portal.
And that's not one I've ever played, but I think that's not one that I'm great at. Like the game mechanics aren't ones that I'm good at. By the way, Magneto finished the Guardians of the Galaxy game.
Oh, did he? How did he like it?
Yes, he did. He did. Well, obviously he liked it because he finished the game.
Well, I mean, some people are stubborn and they hate finish games. Been there.
No. Like if he doesn't like it enough, he doesn't finish. Though I think he did hate finish Farm Simulator 12 or not 12, 19. He went all the way through the game until he got all of the achievements, and then he was like, "That's it. I'm done. I'm out." I think he did hate finish that one, but
yeah, you will get those games where you're just like, I'm too far gone. I'm gonna finish
Just
this,
gonna
and I
finish
hate this
it.
game. Yep.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. Anyway,
while we're on the subject of free games and Amazon gaming, I was just looking to see what's new. If you like Gargoyles, the Gargoyles game's on there right now.
which was a Sega game, Nate? Sega Genesis specifically.
I don't actually know. I don't know that one.
Did you not watch the Gargoyles? I remember watching it. Yeah.
That was the most adult show for kids.
I haven't rewatched it as an adult. Maybe I should. But I know I really enjoyed it as a kid. But there are TV shows that I watched as a kid that watching back as an adult, and I was like, holy crap. I cannot believe that was a kid's TV show.
So, Wendy, look at it this way. They turned to stone, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you see the medieval humans do when they turn to stone? Here's a mace. And then you see chunks of stone. They're dead.
Okay.
It was legalized murder on a kid's show.
Oh my gosh, the Guardians of the Galaxy game is free on Amazon Prime Gaming right now. So if you wanted to pick up that game, there you go. It's there too. Magneto finished it. He enjoyed it. I don't know that I would make it all the way through. I did start it. It's one I would continue to playing even though I'm bad at shooter games. But I'm typically more of a point and click puzzle other than Phasmophobia. That's kind of where.
So the thing I like about Galaxy is it doesn't try to be Guardians of the Galaxy like Marvel movie. It has the humor element that makes the Guardians interesting in the banter, but it doesn't try to be Chris Pratt in that side of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
Which is what I really, really liked.
And it's all Nate's fault. I'm now looking at games.
I didn't do it this time. That was all you. You went to Prime. So don't blame me on this one. Though you can blame me for making you aware you could get games from Amazon Prime.
That is definitely your fault. Yes, that is definitely your fault. But the thing is if a game is like free or super cheap, I'm like, okay. And if I hate it, I'm not like, well, crap. Right? You know?
Yeah, you're in the same boat I am when it comes to buying games. It's like, if it was like a $60 purchase, it's like, oh God, that's painful when it's bad.
That's going to hurt. Yeah, that's absolutely going to hurt.
I'm not going to lie. I've bought in those games, and those are the games I will hate finish because it's like, I hate this game.
Because
It
you
is,
spent
but
$60 on it. Yeah.
I spent so much money on it. But then there are games where literally one of my favorite games, I spent $1 on to play it, like to buy it. I've put like 60 hours into that game. So
yeah.
like, it's funny. But while talking about getting heated and whatnot, Wendy, you seem to be having some heat issues with your 3D printer, I'm assuming.
Yeah, well, and it's not heating issues, it's the heat bed, and the heat bed is incredibly wonky. And I've been struggling with trying to get it to level and all kinds of crap, and I can't. So it's got a glass bed on it. That's what the Under 5 Plus came with. And it didn't seem like it used to be so out. So like all of the corners droop. And I do my best to try to get them level. And like, I don't know, I've spent hours in the leveling process. And so finally here the other day, I was like, screw it. I unscrewed the knobs at the bottom. I pulled the springs, because I got them right here. So these were the springs that were under the bed. Put the knobs back on. And so the print that it finished today for the robotics team was without any additional bed leveling. I was like, just run it as it is. And so even without the springs in there, all of those corners, like I said, they kind of droop. So you've got a high spot in the center and all of that. And I'm not entirely sure, is it the glass bed? Is it the main heat bed itself? I don't know, but I broke down and ordered one of the metal build plates for it. So one of the other advantages on top of hopefully my issues in the glass bed is that prints will come off of it easier. So one of the struggles with the glass bed is I either can't get it to stick, so then I need the glue stick on there, or then it sticks so well that I end up taking a paint scraper and I have to pry it off the bed. Whereas if you have one of those metal sheets, it's the build plate, then you can kind of give it a little bit of a bend, it pops right off, you're good to go. So I have broken prints trying to get them pried off the glass build plate. So that I'm hoping, I don't want to just run my bed leveling without the build plate on there, because you do have like the screw holes and that kind of thing. So I don't want to like try to figure out to dodge those and whatnot. So that should be arriving tomorrow, Thursday. Unfortunately, that is a co-op robotics day for us. So I will install it on Friday and run the test and try to figure it out. I also ordered new springs for it. So I don't know that these ones are necessarily bad. They may be just fine, and some new knobs. So I just have the original ones that are plastic that have the metal threading in them. I know with Orca Slicer, the printer has been running so much faster that I'm wondering if maybe there's something wore out somewhere in there. And so it's just causing them to slip down more. I don't know. But I am having some printing issues that way. So the parts that I printed today, though, without the springs, just resting on the original build plate, they printed beautifully. Like, they printed fantastic. So we'll see if this fixes it or not. In the scope of things, it's a pretty cheap fix. And upgrading from the glass bed has been on my wish list for a while. It was just a push to go ahead and do it. So I'll update you in 102 as to how that whole process goes. Now, it does come with a magnet for the bed, so that'll be one of those things. How easy is it to install, right? Adapting this from the original build plate version to this. Is it going to be a ripping pain or not? I don't know. We'll find out. We'll all find out. I don't know if we'll actually find out Friday, because I'm going to have to get DL edited on Friday, because Saturday we have robotics stuff. So it might be Saturday afternoon before I actually get to play with it, but it's on the list. It's one upgrade that's easy to do that won't cause the printer not to work. So there you go.
Yeah, do let me know how that goes. Now, I have one of those metal build plates, and I will never go back to anything else. It's been great.
For the glass.
Yep.
So are you still having to use glue stick or hairspray on it?
Nope.
Sticks directly without having to deal with that. Nice. Nice.
Yep. For now.
Eventually it'll wear out. And the downside of what I've got now is I don't know how easy it'll be to eventually replace that build plate. I noticed that the under 5 Plus, I don't think they're currently making. I think it's a model that they've deprecated. So we'll see how that goes with time. The K1 Max that the team is using, they have one of those metal build plates and it does have a gouge in it. So I think over time you do have to worry about the coating on it eventually wearing out. But we'll see.
Well, I mean, if it does need to be replaced, I don't have to put a new magnet, a new magnet on top of the.
Yeah.
I just have to put a new plate on
done.
there. I kind of would like to get another one anyway when I'm doing lots of prints, because then I can just swap it out and then put a new one in, start another print.
Yeah, that would absolutely be handy in order to just do a quick swap. So then you can pull it off, clean the build plate while your next print is already starting. I haven't had rapid fire prints too much. That was the thing this summer. So we'll see if I like it and everything works good. That could be something that we go to. Otherwise, I don't know what to do because I have looked at new base build plates and they are outrageously expensive. So replacing that top piece that the heater connects to is definitely not on the list of things to do. So we'll see. We'll see what happens after I make this switch. Like I said, I'm hoping that the warping is just in the glass, but I don't know. Glass is not something that typically warps like that. So
No.
I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. All I know is that it's been on the verge of getting some baseball bat treatment. And I can't do that. I need the darn thing.
Right. You can't go Office Space on it.
Exactly. Can't go Office Space on it. But you're feeling a little jolly there, Nate. You're already getting ready for Christmas. So do you have songs picked out for the lights?
So, yes, I do. But that's not so much what I want to talk about. This is more like the technical side of things, not the artistic side of things.
Cool.
So, one of the things I have, I use these little ESP8266 modules. There's little D1 minis. I have like a little USB-C connector, although they used to have mini or micro USB, which were terrible. I mean, they work fine, I guess. You're not going to have that many cycles. But anyway, so the issue is I have a bunch of these. One on my Christmas tree right now. It's actually, I call it more of a festive tree. Back in January when I took the Christmas tree down, the kids were like, but we like the lights. So I'm like, okay. So I got a little fake one. I wrapped it with some little lights and then I hooked this into it to control it using WLED, which is a great piece of software. Lots of fun to use, easy to install. But the issue was I just kind of had this dangling on the tree, and also above my cabinets in my kitchen and below my cabinets are driven by a couple of these as well. And again, they were just kind of, hanging in the breeze, as it were. So I decided that I would, using Onshape, because I did talk you into that, and I needed a modeler.
Yes.
I needed a modeler that I could, make very complex models with, because I want to do a lot of things with it and whatnot. So I did use that. I would have used Fusion 360, but I couldn't punch in dimensions for whatever reason. That just stopped working, and it's really hard to model when you can't punch in dimensions. But anyway.
Yeah.
Onshape works great. I wish Fusion 360 would work better for me, but it could be a Linux reason. Linux, running at Linux might be the issue. So I designed a little box here with a cover to put it in, and so I can
Nice.
And then it took me I think like 6 or 8 iterations. I can't remember now, but I did when it's not quite perfect, got to make one more little modification,
right?
And so
yes.
So, just fits in there with the USB, sticking out. And then I made sure that any of my USB-C cables would had the proper relief for it, getting
okay, yeah.
So it fits. And then so that works really well. And then the cover actually took a little more time because I want to make sure the right sort of clipping fit, and it also had to be durable. So anyway, it fits pretty well. I got little pegs there, basically kind of keep the board from moving around, and then boom, it's all done. ready to go. So I really like it. And then I did make a variation of this though, which I think I did break the top. No, I didn't. So I do a variation though, just for the WLED version. So I can solder it together and just kind of send it out the back, the the wires, the clip, and then there's no hole in the top. It's just for the purpose of doing a WLED, and as well. So anyway, I like it. It works pretty nicely. And then I use the PETG filament, transparent. I don't know. I'm liking this. I was never into like the transparent like game consoles. Remember remember the old iMac G3, how it was translucent, and then you had like
yep.
There was like that craze sometime in the mid to late 90s where everything had to be transparent so you could see the circuits, and I always thought that was dumb. And then all of a sudden now I like it.
I kind of like it. My D-brand skin, you actually can see, quote unquote, the back of the device with the X-ray version. Like I kind of like that look.
Yeah. What I'm saying though is now something has changed, and I kind of
decided that you like that, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. So the transparent is kind of fun because you can then see that it's actually lit up. I did of course.
It's powered on, or helps you know that it's powered on. Yeah.
I originally did them in green, and for obvious reasons.
Right. Match the tree and match your lighting and match your soul.
No, because OpenSUSE.
Right.
But also,
exactly. That's what I just said.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But like getting the button right on the side though, that was kind of that took quite a bit just so it had like the right feel and everything else, when I don't know why I cared so much. But anyway, so I will be writing up something on keepingitlight.com probably within the week. Cool. It's already started, and then I'll publish that. So that, and also the CAD document so you can download it and print it for yourself and everything else. So yeah. Anyway, it's just been it's getting ready for Christmas. And then the other thing too is I'm lighting up my barn next to my house. So the same kind of BeagleBone black based controller that I use in the house, I'm going to put over there. I've already started putting in the F trim for it. And I'm also working on an article for keepingitlight.com. So it's like a complete quick start guide. I actually started writing this 4 years ago, I think, of how like step by step of doing this. And things changed, and then I don't know why I kind of got it stalled out.
Sidetracked.
But so I'm working on that. So to include installing the software on the BeagleBone Black and setting everything up, because for me when getting that going, there's a lot of things. If you understand how to use it, it's really easy to use, but you have to get to the point where you actually understand how to use it. Mm-hmm. So it's just a guide for the purpose of just understanding how to use it. Not to make you an expert, just to understand these are the things you have to set up in order
for it to work. Yeah.
Very very bare bone basics. This is how you go from nothing. This is how much you'll spend. This is how I implemented it. And a lot of things are optional.
Nice.
So I'm going through like what I use to put it on my house or my barn. So and recommendations. So anyway, that's what I'm working on. I'm excited. I would have had more lights on this weekend, but I should say that the trim all the way up, I got like roughly about 200 linear feet of F trim that I got to put up so I can put the lights in it. And then, I have like about 4,000 lights to put up, but that I could put up. I'm not going to put up all 4,000 because I just don't have that much to go. But I want to make sure everything kind of ties in between the house and the barn, so they're coordinated between them. Don't know how to do that part yet. That won't be included in the guide because that's level 2 stuff.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see your video this year with the lighting on the barn as well.
It'll be fun. I got to figure that out, right? I did do lights in front of it this year for the first time for Halloween. Now the Thanksgiving lights. I changed the purple to orange, because fall.
Yeah,
but
perfect.
I'm not a big Halloween fan. It's kind of like to me it's the dumpster holiday. I know that's like not popular.
See, and it's one of my oldest daughter's favorite holidays, but it's more like the costume design stuff because she really loves to do things like that. So it's an excuse to go crazy. This year she was a dragon at co-op, so she built like the horns and everything out of clay and she had a chest plate that also had scales and stuff on it. It ended up
cool.
looking so cool. Yeah.
Oh, my thing is like the whole trick or treat thing. I think I don't like it. I like the trunk or treats.
Candy
that we do
isn't
now.
a big thing at our house either.
Yeah.
So we did the trunk or treat for a co-op, and then the community next to us. It's a pretty nice little community. They had a community one, and mainly we went because I had a friend I hadn't got to visit with in a while, so I went and like hung out by a barrel with her that was fired. You know, it was lit on fire, so we stayed warm while the kids did their thing, and then we went home.
That's fun.
Yep.
I'm totally in favor of that.
Yes.
That's good times. But anyway, so I guess I'll let you know how it goes coming up very soon. I really got to get these articles done because they're kind of time sensitive, but work stuff. It's been pretty busy and.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Right, well, now it's time to toss in your 2 cents, Matt, on today's topics. Hit the discourse forum, drop us a line under this video, or on the contact form by visiting tuxdigital.com/contact. If you'd like to hang out with us on our preferred social media, see the links at the bottom of the show description. For other great shows like Sudo Show, Destination Linux, Linux Saloon, and more at tuxdigital.com. Show off your love for your favorite podcast and shows by visiting the Tux Digital merch store. Grab yourself some awesome swag, like the gamer-centric I Pause My Game to Be Here shirt, or join #Team Wendy with some awesome Sinister Wendy swag. As always, we thank you for joining us. We'll be back next time with another awesome episode of Linux Out Loud. Until then, keep the banter friendly, the conversation somewhat. Actually, just go ahead and just chat it out. But just have fun doing it.
Yeah.